Jason, you missed out on one of the best interviews we've ever had.
Yeah, I hope there are so many tears shed while watching this interview.
You don't
Yeah.
have to make it so deep, Alex. Were you a fucking sinner? Yes
Oh,
or not?
I will find a way to make it deep even when it's not. If I could do anything, I had 9 lives, I would free fall from Earth.
I was gonna say, there goes Alex getting deep again. But no, I
Let's
think
go.
so. That's kind of another long-winded answer of like, what's going on right now, baby.
Stop. I'm taken. Oh my God. This is not the rock of love.
Yeah, right. But it could
No.
be.
Welcome to Unshut, a place where if at any point you feel like you need to shut the up, don't.
Hey, what's up?
Awesome. How are you doing?
Good. We have Alex joining us here in a second too.
Is it just going to be the two of you?
Yeah, just the two of us. Two out
All
of
right.
three ain't bad, I guess.
No, that's not bad at all. Listen, it's better than no one showing up. It's happened
Yeah,
before.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Musicians, man, you can't count on them.
Too funny.
Yeah, thanks for reaching out. Like, I checked out the Brooke Hogan episode. That's so crazy. Like, I would have been like a fanboy the whole time. That was awesome.
Oh, I mean, my hands are sweating just as much as they were for that episode right now.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah,
No,
that was a fun one.
yeah, I'm such a huge fan of like that 2000s like reality TV that was so fun to watch.
Oh, I love that. You might like
Yeah,
some of my future episodes then.
good. Keep them coming. Keep them
It's
coming. There's Alex. Maybe.
like the suspense.
Yeah,
Yo,
is
can
it
you hear
him?
me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
It's actually me. Let me figure out my camera. I'm on a new desktop, so it's like reinstalling everything again, and you're like, I don't remember.
You're like, I actually just bought a computer for the first time. There he is.
Yes, there he is.
The man of the hour.
Let's go. We did it.
Amazing. Sorry, Jason couldn't make it.
Yeah, he's not with us right now, but yeah, in
Yeah.
spirit.
Rest in peace, Jason.
Well, we'll send him a couple shout outs for him.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome, because I have a lot of random shit I'm going to be throwing at you guys today.
Oh.
So,
I'm excited.
hell yeah, me too. Before we start, though, I kind of wanted to share a story with you guys. Are you guys cool with that?
Yeah, for
Let's do
sure.
it.
How awkward would it have been if you guys would have been like, nah?
Yeah. No.
We're
Can you imagine?
Could you imagine? Yeah, we're just here for the questions. Let's start.
Yeah.
No, so I wanted to share this story with you guys because all of my episodes and all of my invites have been pretty fucking special and very unique in their own way. And something that happened with me reaching out, the way it all kind of worked out. This was a few months ago, very early stages of the podcast. My partner and I are both major music lovers. Like we jam out in the car together, like fucking psychos. Like it's just our thing. So we're going shopping and we're pulling up to the place we're going, and it's my turn to play a song. And so I'm like, babe, I have to play this song for you. The way his voice breaks just makes me wet, is what I quoted. Okay. So, so I then go ahead and I start to play Better Than Heaven. We get to the second verse, and then you do this little thing with your voice, and we're just fucking jamming out. And then I lower the volume, and I'm like, man, could you imagine if I actually get to talk to these guys playing this song right now? And he was just like, that would be so dope. And I literally, the song ended, we got on to the next one, and I was like, man, if only. That would be so cool. So this is a big full circle moment for me.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's amazing.
I've been really excited for this for a minute. And so when I finally got like the balls to reach out, and a lot of it has to also do with there were some people on my radar that I wanted to reach out to, you guys being one of them, but I wanted to wait to not necessarily like blow up. Right. But I wanted to get a little bit more comfortable in front of the camera with my voice, with how to use a mic before I really started to reach out to people that would make me fucking nervous, like Brooke Hogan being one of them, you guys being one of them. So I waited a minute to do it because I'm like, I need just a little bit more under my belt before I have these guys on. So welcome, a story told.
Well, thank you for having us. I love the
Yeah.
comparison with us and Brooke Hogan. Like, I'll take that any day. So just our name in that sentence is amazing. So no, we're happy to be here. That's an awesome story.
For
Amazing.
sure.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to just jump right in. I've got a lot of questions that I want to pick your guys' brains about. Alex, I'm going to start off with you. Something I wanted to pick your brain about is I know you do photography. What do you do to channel being comfortable in front of a camera when you're also behind it?
That is a good question. I feel like, um, well, first off, that nobody has ever asked me that. Um, I know that, I mean, I have some people that have talked about like who takes the pictures, and it's like, well, we have to. But I think that just over the years, I've just become so comfortable with the fact that in most cases, I'm going to be taking it and have to be in it. So it's like you have to go from the creative to being, the person in the band. So obviously, it's amazing that cameras have self timers. But if you could only see the amount of photos we take just because I can't see it in real time. So we're constantly taking picture after picture. So it's really just like jumping in, jumping in. So, but as far as like, I feel like more recently, the creative vision has been so much more collective. And like, that's part of the beauty of our band is where we've been so DIY, we've been able to have so much creative control over it. But like the actual practice of taking it and being in it really has just come with time and taking 1,000 photos and picking one.
I love that. I
So
was so curious about that because I know for me, like that's something I've been learning to tap into is being comfortable in front of a camera when I was so used to being behind the scenes as a choreographer, never having to
okay.
be the face of my own product. And so when I found out that you did photography, I was curious about that. So that's good stuff. I noticed
Yeah.
you had also posted that you sucked at tennis. Is there any other sport you suck at?
Every other one. No. The only sport that I was ever really good at was baseball, and I quit like in high school to do show choir. So that's like a lot of stage presence aspects. Josh was in show choir too. He's gonna be mad that I pigeonholed him in that. But baseball is the only sport I was ever good at. I was not good at basketball, football, anything else. Maybe some table tennis, but it's recreational, so it's fun, even if you suck.
I love that. Josh, did you play any sports?
I played soccer growing up. I pretty much played up until high school, and then after that, it was just like pickup games throughout high school. But that was really the only sport that I was involved in was soccer. I'm a pretty tiny guy, so like football, not even on my radar. So yeah,
Are you European?
I'm definitely Irish.
Well, speaking of stating the obvious, I don't know if you'll remember this post you made and you captioned it, I'm gonna tell my kids this is the chain smokers. Do you remember what post I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's with our buddy Caden. He's actually been out on the road with us a few times taking photos, but I definitely remember that photo. And I hope I will relay that message to my future kids.
Amazing. Well, my question about that post to you is, and be brutally honest, this is just to get into shoot the shit. How
I'm scared.
unoriginal? Oh, no, don't be. Not yet, at least. How unoriginal would it be if I said, I'm going to tell my kids this is Ed Sheeran?
It's so funny. I mean, this is like 10 or about 10 years ago. I was working at like Abercrombie and Fitch. And this guy came up to me and he was like, dude, there's this artist overseas. His name's Ed Sheeran. He look exactly like him. And I was like, I've never heard of him. And I looked into him. I was like, yeah, I kind of actually look like him. But at this point, he hadn't even put out that first record. Nothing was like on streaming services in the US. So I was like, oh, like whatever. But then as time goes on, like I'll just like be in the mall. I'll be just like out to dinner and I'll just hear whispers, that guy looks like Ed Sheeran, that guy looks like Ed Sheeran. So I would say it's honestly like a weekly thing, which is pretty funny. If only I could sing like him, I think I would enjoy it way more. But yeah, I get it all the time.
That's amazing. I'm glad I'm not the only one coming up with something so unoriginal and calling you Ed Sheeran, but I thought that was
Yes.
hilarious. I wanted to also ask you, when is your birthday?
It might be next week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my birthday's next week. Yeah. You want the date or?
No, I'm just curious, just because something I noticed on your Instagram
Hmm.
was how many people you post happy birthday to. I don't know if
Hmm.
you've ever noticed that they're like early on in the beginning of your Instagram, they were like at
Yeah.
least a minimum of three. But I'm gonna go ahead and
Yeah.
over exaggerate and say that you posted a fuck ton just to say that of happy birthday to this person, happy birthday to this person. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, what can we do for his fucking birthday to celebrate him? He's shouting out all these people.
That's right. You got to be supportive of your friends. They get one day of the year. That's funny that you brought that up. Yeah, I've never realized. I need to do a deep dive on my Instagram and see how like cringy I was 5 to 10 years ago. Because I'm sure it's pretty bad. But yeah, that's funny.
No, nothing too cringy. I just thought I'm like, let's go ahead and ask Josh, like, and
Yeah.
let's go ahead and just put it on the record. And Alex, take notes, please.
I
What
am.
what can the people close to you do this year to make your birthday special?
Send lots of money. Let's get to the point. Yeah. Yeah.
Typing in
What's
notes, money.
Yeah, what's that meme lately? Is just like just send your cash like that. That's my motto for next week.
Awesome. We'll add the Venmo, Cash App links, all that to this episode for sure.
Yeah, that's what this episode's about. It's really a GoFundMe campaign to raise money for my birthday.
Exactly. We're not even here to talk music at all.
No, this is a yeah, a support campaign.
I love that. Congratulations to you guys on Mundane Magic. The one thing that stood out to me the most about this album was how cohesive, first of all, but secondly, the beginning to end of this album is literally an album you want every single track live. Do you guys get that a lot?
Yeah, I think this is like the most conceptual or like album that you have to like listen to it in totality to like understand it. And I mean we're doing like we're practicing now to prepare for like our tour coming up very soon. And I mean it was like so difficult to kind of like pick and choose the songs that we're going to play. And at first we're like let's just play it front to back, but we have so many songs. This is our fourth record, so it's kind of hard to pick and choose to begin with. So I mean, gosh, I wish we could play it front to back. And like you said, I just think that it makes sense. And I think every song people want to hear. And I mean, that's a great question. Because I think collectively we love the record as a whole. And I think that that's the best way to consume it. There isn't like in the past or like even with the last record, American Made, there's standout tracks and no track's ever like a throwaway. But as far as like understanding the cohesive message, Mundane Magic is the best representation of like a singular message that we were trying to tell. So yeah.
And I think it was done so well. I think that's just what stood out to me the most. I'm like, well, and you guys had also made a post about like what songs would you like to see live? And there were quite a few people who were like, that's such an unfair question. And I thought that was so
Of course it
relatable.
is. Yeah. Right. Of course.
I love that. So I definitely pulled some inspiration out of some of your guys' song titles that I want to ask you guys about. So this is not just for Alex or it's for the both of you. If heaven did care what you did last week, would you be making it into heaven or would you be catching a tan in hell?
Alex, I'm gonna let you take that one again. Alex just got back from Vegas, so I would love to know the answer.
Yeah, give me a second.
We're going to go with hell. I'm just kidding.
Oh, that is such a good question. Man, I don't even know how to answer that. You're spitting out the good questions.
And we're just getting started, Alex. We're just getting started.
Cool.
My last week for me was pretty boring, so I'm definitely going to heaven. So
Love that. I'm glad some of us have a clear conscience on where
right,
we're
right.
going.
That's right.
Right, Alex? We wish we could all say
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah, that's right.
That's funny.
I mean, I definitely think last week is like kind of like compartmentalizing I don't know, just the idea of things you've done, things you've been through, things that are going on, or kind of I don't know, a more interesting way to phrase that.
You don't
Yeah.
have to make it so deep, Alex. Were you a fucking sinner? Yes or no?
I will find a way to make it deep even when it's not. So
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that so much.
yeah.
I know.
So
When I listen to like Alex's lyrics, I'm like, man, that's really deep. And then he explains it to me, and I feel like most of the time he's like really literal. but it comes across like super deep. Um, I don't know. I think Alex is a great lyricist, and I don't know. It's like super relatable, so that's funny.
No, which
That's
is
so nice,
something
Josh.
that, yeah, that was so nice of you. You're definitely going
Oh
to
yeah.
fucking heaven for
Oh yeah, yeah,
sure.
that's right. Yeah. I had to keep the brand going.
No, I love it, but you're 100% right. And I think this is why, something I have been very vocal about on the podcast is like I refuse to launch a podcast and just be like, who wants to come on and talk? Like I've been very selective and there's been strategy in how I was going to go about things because I think people's messages are so important. And listen, I'm a very sensitive person when it comes to energies. And so it's not just a platform I'm building to have everyone come and speak on. And that was something that captivated me about you guys were the lyrics. They were up for interpretation in so many different ways. You can listen to one song 5 times in a row, and each time you could interpret them so differently. So
I think
Absolutely.
that's so much part of like what we're going for. Like it's such an outlet for me to like kind of like as far as like it's an open journal. It's like so many things I'm saying in a song I would never tell to like my friends that are sitting right next to me. It's really like an open journal for me, and the perfect thing about it is that you can take it literal, you can take it a certain way, and 5 months later you can take it a different way. So that was nice to hear you say that. So
oh, of course. So, I mean, you're not the only one that gets deep. I'm a very
of
emotional
course,
guy too. Going back to the next track, have you ever met God? Have either of you ever had a near-death experience that you'd like to share?
I don't think I have. I'll have to think on this.
And
Have
by
you,
the way,
Alex?
being like completely stunned with some of my questions, this is the
cool.
part that really like excites me the most about these conversations with artistic creatives like you guys, because
Yeah.
I feel like in the past, we have developed this culture around interviewing creatives to be very tell me about your lyrics, tell me about your song. And
Hmm.
I really, really want to push for my platform to become a place where artists can come and escape the norm, be caught off guard. You got to think quick on your toes, but
Yeah.
also this industry demands a lot of cookie cutter.
Hmm.
Mm,
And I think that sometimes insults the creative. So I'm like, I like to ask questions that catches people off guard. So
It is very much
killing it.
much appreciated. Like you said, I
Yeah.
feel like it's I hate like all aspects of life, just like checking the box. So it's very refreshing. But back to the
Agreed.
original question, I don't think I have had a near-death experience. Like, knock on wood, fortunately.
The only thing I can think of, this has nothing to do with the song. I was 10 years old, and my best friend was building a house literally just 2 streets down. And we visited the site where the house was being built. I mean, it wasn't even close to being done. And so it was basically just a construction site. And along like the edges of the frame of the house, they dug it out, but there were like huge spikes and they were sharp. So it was roped off. We weren't supposed to be in there. But I think I like tripped and fell off of a dirt mound, and I perfectly fell in between these two spikes. And I don't even think I've told Josh this because it's, hey, by the way, when I was 10 years old, but like don't openly tell that story, but I think that was truly my only near death experience. Because if I was just 1 foot to the other side, I mean, it would have went straight through me. So,
you would have
um,
met God for real then.
Wow.
yeah, and these albums would have never come out.
Wow.
And that would have been such a sad thing.
Yeah,
The next song I have on here, and I'm actually glad you said this because some of these questions, I don't just pull inspiration from the song title. Sometimes it truly is just that. It's just a title. So it has nothing to do with the song you wrote. So just to clarify that. So with that being said, you have a song titled called High Class. When do you feel like the most uppity bitch? Like I know for me, it's whenever I valet. Whenever I valet a car, it makes me want to get out of the car. And I know my partner's going to get a good laugh out of this because it's like, I wish I could be making it up, but I'm not. I literally, whenever I valet my car, I get out and I like to pretend there are people taking photos of me. So I like to do this,
That's funny.
getting out. So yeah, so that's when I feel the most uppity when I valet. What about you guys?
That's funny. Hmm.
When do you feel the bougiest, the fanciest?
Disclaimer, we're from West Virginia, so we're pretty we're pretty basic. So I feel like being from West Virginia, anything is like anything outside of that is like bougie or fancy to us. So I don't know. I don't know, Alex.
It's a good question.
Hi.
Um, I did this past weekend in Vegas just by being there, like not because anything particular happened, but
So when you travel.
yes.
All right, I like that. The
Yeah.
next song I have for you guys is, and this is actually kind of funny for me. You guys may not even think this is funny, but there's a track on there, and I could not figure out if you intended it to be called Rodeo or Rodeo. And also, English is not my first language, people. So, can someone clarify how was that title intended to be?
I think the title solely came because that was the working title. Like that was the most, I wouldn't say country, but like kind of like the feeling that we were going for writing that song, and that was like the working title, and like we just stuck with it. This was an album that we, for the most part, deciding on the names of the songs was not controversial at all. It's like it either like was clinging to the working title, or it just made sense, like the hook. So I think Rodeo, I think Josh was like, we have to call it Rodeo, and we were like, well, yeah, of course. So I mean, that's as simple as it gets.
Bringing it back to early 2000s trash reality TV, there was a show called, what was it called? I think it was called Rock of Love. And there was a character on there named Rodeo. So we really like leaned into that for like the promo of the song because I just think it's so funny. But to your question, it's definitely Rodeo. And we'll say it's titled after her. So
I love that. So, Rodeo,
News to
not
me.
Rodeo.
yeah, not Rodeo. Back to high class, it's definitely Rodeo. So
Perfect. There's a line in Never Around that says, "What's going on right now, baby?" So something I wanted to ask you guys is what are you guys like? I know going back to something you were saying, Alex, like it's really hard for you to like not take things so deep and personal. So this is definitely that. What is something going on in your life right now that it doesn't necessarily have to be monumental, but something that you're feeling lately? What's something that's going on in your life right now, baby?
Gosh, these are such good questions. I'm so should I answer in relationship to the lyric, or just like you just said, what's going on in my life?
Just
Um,
what's going on in your life.
what's going on in my life? Let's see. Well, we're writing new music. Um, I mean, uh, basically with us, we all work um 9 to 5 jobs to kind of like coexist with our band lives. And I think that so much of the record Mundane Magic coexists with that life, where we have normal 9 to 5s, but we turn it on, and like we're these people in bands that are trying to make it for a living. And we're so comfortable with where we are and who we are right now. Beside the point, me personally, it, it's kind of a weird time to be really anywhere, oh, especially West Virginia. Kind of when you're in your late 20s, early 30s, trying to exist in a world um, that is like ever changing. I know for me, like I've written a lot about past relationships or ones that got away, and you like tend to want to hold on to these narratives because they give you the fuel that makes sense because it's something that you can write about. But like when you transition into, say, you're with somebody that really makes you feel like you're the person you want to be, and they support the person you want to be and support the endeavors that you want to pursue, it's a real big change, especially for so much of our band and so much of our existence. I've written so much about pain and overcoming obstacles, yada yada yada. So I think that's where I'm at, and that's so much of the last record is this transition. And so I'm like continuing to pursue that and what that looks and what that sounds like. I mean, I'm more as interested and invested as ever in what that looks like. But personally, like I'm doing great. I'm just kind of clinging to what makes me happy. And I mean, especially the guys, and like making music and what we do every day in that sense is definitely one of them. But that's a bucket that's like a for sure. This is what must happen for me. And so it's really just filling up the other buckets of life. And I mean, truthfully, everybody just wants to be happy. And so I think that that's like the pursuit that we're on. And me specifically, I'm continuing to pursue that, even though writing music, it's kind of a catch 22. You kind of want to hone in on the stuff that gives you fuel, but sometimes you might have to put that down in order to pick up something else. So long
Yeah.
answer, but
No, that's good. And I find that so refreshing too, because I feel like that is truly what this is all about. It's bigger than what we're doing, right? The messages
mhm.
we're putting out, it's bigger than the music, it's bigger than that. So I appreciate that answer because I think that's actually what makes this so concrete is the fact that we're able to see that it's bigger than what we're doing and to be able to take all that pain you're talking about, these transitional periods, these pivots of your life, and here you are making good fucking music out of it. And so many of us have no idea that these are transitional periods for you. That is what magic is made out of, in my opinion. So
Right.
what
Well,
about
thank
you,
you.
Josh? Oh, of course.
I was gonna say, there goes Alex getting deep again. But no,
Let's go.
I think he just really hit the nail on the head with like, I feel like, late 20s, early 30s, this is a very transitional time for all of us within the band. It's kind of reflecting on the past and lessons learned there and kind of figuring out like what going forward looks like and what that looks like, where it looks like, who it looks like with, where that's we're from a personal perspective, that's what we're trying to figure out. But I think the message is being like clearly conveyed within like the music, and that's kind of our outlet to kind of help navigate what's next for all of us, because it is like a moment to like reflect and kind of almost like a brain dump, in a form of art that's consumed by many people, where it's very necessary, and I think it'll ultimately help us get to where we want to be. So that's kind of where I think all of us are, just like a really transitional period in our lives. And I don't know, we're just happy to be here. We're happy that people care and can relate. And we've been doing this for, our first record came out in 2016, so we've been doing this for a minute. And yeah, it's an honor that people care and can relate. And it's something that Alex and I have talked about recently, is just like we are so appreciative of like long-term fans. It almost feels like we're growing up with them, they're growing up with us. And as like our music changes and our lyrical content changes, it feels like everybody is kind of where they like need to be, both from like our perspective and a fan perspective. It's like we're growing with them, they're growing it with us, and it just like feels right. So that's kind of another long-winded answer of like what's going on right now, baby.
Stop, I'm taken. Gosh, my gosh. This is not the rock of love.
Yeah, right. But it could
No,
be.
I love this so much, you guys, because I think that even though, like, I know it may also feel like, man, like I'm catching you so off guard with these questions, right? There's so much beauty in that. And I can see that what you're conveying is, I mean, if you really think about it, right? And obviously not to toot my own horn because I think I'm fucking awesome, but could you imagine if your music was not inspirational, was not moving? I could literally sit here and just be like, so what's your favorite track? Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm,
So I think
mhm.
the fact that, and I've talked about this too, even in the choreography world, when you take inspiration from another choreographer, you co-choreograph, it doesn't mean that someone's like stealing your ideas. It just means that you were able to pull inspiration. But that's also me being a
Absolutely.
positive Patty. And so I
Mhm.
feel like with you guys, this is such a surreal moment for me because I think that I look up to you guys in your craft, in your artistry, in your lyricism, and I'm being able to catch you off guard. So to me, I'm like, fuck yeah, this is a big win.
That's too kind, seriously.
You guys just don't stop doing what you're doing. You're doing it so right. My favorite track on this album is Love It Here. This is just my absolute favorite. If you have 20 million streams on it, 19 are for me, so you're welcome. To honor my favorite part of this song, which by the way, I journal a lot when I come up with these questions. And some of them I keep, and actually 99% of the time I keep everything I journal because it's just this spontaneous part of this. To honor my favorite part of this song, I am going to ask you guys a question, and whatever you answer when you're done, I want you to give me an Josh, you wore a shirt once with a cat on it that said,
Oh God.
what am I doing? What am I doing with my lives? So if you knew in fact you had 9 lives, what is something you would do right now with no fear, no consequence?
Wow. Um, hmm. That's a great question. I don't know, like I'd have if I had 9 lives. Hmm.
Mine would for sure be
Mm,
skydiving. I am terrified I will not do it in this life, but if I knew I had 9, I would go skydive tomorrow.
Yeah, I was gonna say like go to space. I don't shoot. If I could have do anything and no consequences. Oh man, I'm really scared of heights. So skydiving is a great answer. I don't know, man. Or you are asking the tough questions. I don't know. I was really like into skateboarding growing up, so I feel like I would maybe try to pursue that a little more because I feel like that's a really dangerous thing to do at our age. So I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I'm not giving good answers.
No, you are. You're totally fine. So just hit me with skateboarding.
Skateboarding. Uh. This is why
That's
I'm not the
perfect.
singer. I'm not the singer.
No, you're good. Listen, I'm not a singer either. I'd get canceled tomorrow if I tried. So, what about you, Alex?
I've literally been sitting here thinking ever since you asked Josh the question, and I got nothing. My initial reaction is to like Google what are things people are afraid to do and be like, oh yeah, that's one of them.
Do you guys remember the show Fear Factor?
Of course.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
there was an episode there where I think they were sliding down like that building or something. That would be something
Hmm.
for me for sure too, because I'm terrified of heights as well.
I mean, again, I think you hit it, you know, I think a lot of people are afraid of heights. I always have dreams about like floating off into space and I have no control. Like I'm just drifting off into the part where like you can't breathe. I don't know, free falling from Earth. That's similar to skydiving. If I could do anything, I had 9 lives. I would free fall from Earth.
That's amazing. I'm super excited for your guys' tour this spring, as I'm sure you guys are as well. So, something I want to do with you guys real quick is I want to shout out those cities. And we'll go one at a time. I'll start with you, Alex, and we'll just go between Alex and Josh, Alex and Josh. But I'm going to shout out the city, and I want you to tell me what's the first word that comes to mind when you think of that city. Alex, I'm going to start with you. The first one is Nashville.
Broadway,
Perfect. Josh, Chicago.
Bulls.
Columbus,
second home,
Pittsburgh,
Permanente Brothers.
Philadelphia,
76ers,
New York.
Broadway.
Perfect. Washington, D.C.,
Joe Biden.
Charlotte.
Family.
Do you have a lot of family there?
Yeah, my parents live there.
Oh, very cool. Will you be making a pit stop to see them?
Absolutely. They're actually going to come out to the show, so that'll be fun.
Would this be their first show?
No, it would not. Um, it'll be one of many, so very supportive.
I love that. Do you get nervous to perform in front of them?
No, not at all. Funny story. My mother was a dance choreographer as well.
Cool.
So all of that's kind of always been in my life, like performing and stuff like that. So no, don't really get nervous. Used to it.
That's really cool. That's
Yeah.
awesome. If you guys would not mind telling everyone where they can stream your music, where to follow you, stalk your lives.
Yeah, we are a story told band on everything: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, if people still use that. Uh, and then obviously we're on all the streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music. Uh, yeah, that's where you can find us. And if you want to creep on us personally, mine is Josh Allen on Instagram. And what is yours, Alex?
ALX Cheney.
Nice. So yeah.
Perfect. Could you guys do me a huge favor before we wrap this up? Leave a message for Jason so that I can make sure he tunes in to listen to this episode. So let's leave him a little message.
Jason, you missed out on one of the best interviews we've ever had. I hope you feel bad about it. No pun intended. I hope you watch it and you feel like this was a moment that defined your life because you weren't on it. But sorry, Jason. We love you.
Yeah, I hope there are so many tears shed while watching this interview for what you missed out on. And I guess we'll see you in a couple weeks.
I guess you'll see him in a couple of weeks. Thank you guys so much for giving me your time today, especially I know it's a little bit, later on in the evening. So I appreciate that so much. Thank you guys.
No,
Thank
thank you for
you.
having us.
We
This is
really
awesome.
appreciate it. It was a great interview.
Yes, of course. I'll definitely be in touch and let you guys know when it's dropping and all those details. But that's a wrap, you guys. Thank you guys so much.
Awesome.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for having us.
Of course. Take care, you guys.
All right. Have a good evening.
You too.
All right. Bye.
Hey, if you've made it this far, don't forget to follow the socials on the screen or in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. See you next week.